Hello leather crafters. Today I'd like to share with you what I'm doing here in the leather shop. I'm making a couple of leather iPad cases. I've got one pretty well underway here. I've hand stitched this. This is 4 layers of saddle skirting and it's really thick. Let me see what that measures. It's under 3/4 by almost a 1/16. And what I'd like to share with you is how I managed to punch my holes so I could hand stitch that. I kind of put a pop stitch around the edge, and instead of using a hand sewing awl, a diamond shape, I think I tried that on the last set I made, and it's just almost impossible to punch through all those layers and end up with something that looked pleasing. So I've got this Craftsman rotary tool. Dremel makes a tool also. In fact, I think the collet and the drill bit were purchased as Dremel tools. And I got this particular thing at Walmart. And I've had this rotary tool a long time. But what I do is turn this on and I drill my holes as straight as possible. I've got those marked at about 1/4 of an inch apart, 1/4 of an inch in from the edge. I used my Osborne 6-inch wing dividers, and I've got that set on just about 1/4 of an inch. I scribed a line around the edge, and then started in about right here and marked my holes, and then came back. And what I do is I take an old piece of saddle skirting and put underneath this, and then I shimmed that up so that would be level. And this I come through here with this tool and drill my holes, and then that really helps with the hand sewing. Let's see, this is a CS Osborne harness needle, I'm sorry, kind of early in the morning. And then this polyester hand sewing thread that I really like. It's not too waxy, it's stout, and it looks good when you pull it down real tight. So that's a little bit of an update on these iPad cases that I'm making. This is my own design, and the iPad just slides right down in there, and then my closer will be some straps that I will cut to length and then brad on there, wet them and set them, and have a snap on the back, and that kind of gives it a unique look. This pop stitch like this is kind of forgiving. If you get to an area where you need to maybe punch an extra hole, and I think I could, I'll show you a place right here. If you kind of got to shorten up a stitch or whatever, you can use your awl and make maybe a smaller stitch to get you to where you need to be. And it's kind of forgiving. It doesn't look bad at all when you do that. Now I'll give you an example of how easy that is to See, my needle just slides right up through there, and I've usually got a pair of needle nose in case I need to use that. Okay. You can tie a little knot in there, and then the thread I use is usually about 3 foot in length. Like on this first stitch, if you'd like to double loop it around, that'd be okay. That'll keep that secured in there. Just pull that first stitch mighty tight. Once you get going, it moves pretty fast. One thing to keep in mind is to keep a check while you're drilling your holes and make sure that they are coming through straight and not too close to the edge on the bottom. This is just a sample. I need to cut a longer string and go ahead and drill all my holes. I'll mark my holes, drill all the holes, and then come back. I just want to do a little mock-up and show you, give you some ideas here. Outside of the iPad cases, and I'm dampening the back side on the first one. I've got tap water on that sponge. Spend a little time getting that just wet enough to transfer my design that I've drawn onto some paper, and it's surprising how long it takes to cut this in. I spent the better part of one whole day putting the scroll design on the front and back with a swivel knife. There's the pattern I'll transfer. Now it's time to put a sealer on the cases after I've embellished them and oiled them. I've got 2 light coats of olive oil on the saddle skirting, and now I'll put a couple coats of Phoebing's tan coat, start around the edge there. I've got some trimmed wool. You can see a couple extra pieces there. If it gets matted down too close, I'll switch over and use a fresh one. This really brings the color out in the leather and makes them kind of pretty, and also puts a protective finish on the cases. There's a look at the cases after the finish has been applied, and there's a close-up of my scroll work there and the cut marks. Truly custom-made iPad case, and there's a closure at the top. I use belt snaps on the back, and there's the other case. I've kind of got it propped up off the table. I've got some wooden blocks that I use to do that. Appreciate you watching this Leathercraft tutorial, and I'll show you a few of the different steps here. This is after the cases are just about glued together. This case is glued together. Now it's time to mark the holes and drill the holes. There gives you an idea of my spacers. There's the back side. I had to relieve for a charger and then some buttons on the iPad. And there's a close-up of some of my spacers. Just takes time and a little creative thinking there. There's the Craftsman drill. A Dremel tool will work just fine. That's a 1/16 drill bit, I believe. Something you can experiment with.